What? Good YouTube, and welcome to the ban list everyone's been asking for, apparently. Please don't give me spoilers in the future when telling me the ban list is out, but apparently tier limit has been hit very, very hard. We'll see exactly what that means. February 6th update here on the page. Let's look for the next no sooner than, effective from February 13th. The previous December 1st, 2022 list remains in effect. Update. So it doesn't exactly say when the next one is. Maybe our national season ban list here. And starting out, Artifact Scythe and Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. These feel very, very late. So maybe the ban list is so big that these will be relevant. We'll have to wait and see through here. Alright, Maxi still here. That's great to see. Tearlament Kikolos. Okay. That is pretty good to see actually forbidden here, going after the extra deck. And we have Sprite Elf. Wow, they're hitting Sprite too. This is pretty crazy. How are they going to be selling Megatins if they're going after both decks? To be fair, Sprite was also being played as a bit of an engine and mixed with many decks, and Sprite Elf was part of the catalyst for that, but that is huge to actually go as well. Then we have a big list, huh? Huge list, huh? We have 4 bans. Huge list, huh? All right, maybe I've had a little smoke blown up here, but four bans and it's a huge list. All right, let's get to the limited. Maybe the action's there. All right, Agido, the Ancient Sentinel. There goes part of the Ishizu engine as well. That's good to see. Kelbeck and Keldo, so that's a lot of limits. So it looks like this is going to be played as a much lighter engine if it is played. Medora as well. Whoa. Tearlament Havness, Tearlament Meryl, and Tearlament Sharon. Okay, so the Tearlaments really are having this ban list. This is pretty heavy hit. This is the entire Ishizu engine to 1, main deck tiers to 1, and they banned their extra. Okay. This is kind of a crazy shakeup that was needed. I also spy Ancient Fairy Dragon, which has an errata, so that is going to be very different moving forward and how it actually acts. I'm not always a big fan. I'd rather them do a retrain like Ancient Fairy Dragon and some new name and do a different thing than murder the old card. It especially does mess up traditional format if you have fun decks in there, but at the same time, getting to use your old cards, it's kind of nice because you already have the card. I go back and forth on it sometimes, but I tend to prefer them to just make a new card for the legacy, like Chaos Emperor Dragon, the Pendulum, right? Look at the new one versus why did you have to mess up the old one and its legacy and nobody plays it anymore, right? They all play the new one. Anyways, that's just a ban list take I have. And there's nothing else in the limited. Okay, so we'll come back to discuss that. Malicious Semi, nothing new here. Destrudo to 3 is actually pretty interesting. Typically, you only need 1, but if you send it and it gets DD crowed or something like that, kind of annoying, right? So this going to 3, very interesting. Jet Synchron no longer on the list. O-Line no longer on the list. Wow, they remembered all the Hulk cards. Servant of Endymion 2-3. Pendulum. I think with Endymion here, that is a bit interesting because a lot of people are saying Kashtira will make Pendulum unplayable. That quote is going around. Kind of a weird timing, isn't it? True King Lithosajum the Disaster. Alright, extra deck wreckage on demand. Yatagrasu and Spiral Resort. Alright, Lithosajum kind of mixes with dinosaurs, and we have the dinosaurs in the duels pack revealed yesterday, and they do work with a lot of extra destruction, and this gives you more on-demand destruction from the hand. So that is kind of interesting. If I recall, you only need to do 1 Earth to bring it out, so you can also pop a Fire 1, or if you use 2 Earths, you get to rip into the extra deck. Yatagarasu doesn't matter in today's day and age. It came back, everybody was worried a little, it did nothing, and yeah, I mean, it's just past its time. It was more symbolic its time on the ban list. Spiral Resort is actually kind of nice. Like, this was a tier 0 deck, but it's obviously past its time. It still could be played to a degree, but its consistency versus everything else that now runs through the entire deck versus how it runs through the deck. You've got one extra deck monster that does it. You have this field spell. You have, different pieces. It's not exactly the same thing it was. Isn't Master Plan still banned on the list also? Like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Spiral Master Plan still banned. So you're missing the in-deck monster engine. I think Spiral's fine with 3 Resort. It shouldn't be doing too crazy of things. Really good unlimit list here. I can't really argue with any. Again, late on a couple. These should have been immediate after Hulk. They should have been right there. Endymion, again. Okay, let's talk about what this list is kind of obviously doing. It's trying to sell very heavily Photon Hypernova, and Photon Hypernova was already selling itself to a good degree. It's really paving the way for Kashtira to be up there as one of the decks, and then it does a lot of surprising hits that there's rumors that the Megatins weren't going to happen this year, and I wasn't buying it so much, but them hitting a Sprite card very, very heavily and hitting Tearlaments so heavily, it doesn't feel like they plan to cash back in on these. I don't typically deal in rumors, but some are so big that I can't ignore them. And the fact that they have been so heavy-handed with now multiple sets in their selling points, that's interesting. 2 years of flop to Megatins. So the ban list often does revolve around selling cards and making sure that cards go. So that's why the OCG and TCG lists are handled so different. This feels more like an OCG kind of list. It feels like they came in and wrecked house, and we usually don't get that anymore. But here, they've gone after Sprite, not as heavy, but Elf is still huge to see go, right? Like, that is a big point in the deck, and it being gone takes an entire point of, like, going into Gigantic and going here and going, like, it takes it away. And the Tearlaments are going to be played as a much, much tighter engine if you're playing Tearlament. This is kind of a murder list on the deck. Like, you don't see this many physical hits around a deck. Tearlament Ashizu, it's all here. So that's kind of wild. I feel like when we're talking about money, though, yeah, selling Photon Hypernova kind of obvious. Lithozajin probably to sell a not duelist pack, deck building set. My bad. I just woke up and the ban list is out here. So this is kind of wild, the direction of money that's being moved around this ban list, but I do see where Konami, like, kind of did their thing finally. Like, it's about time we see this stuff, especially with Tier 0. I will say one other thing. Tier 0 really hurt shops. A lot of traffic was dying down. You get less competitors wanting to play even in locals because they're playing against the same thing every time instead of a variety of decks very often. And I think that this list will definitely help that out. But is Kashtira really going to be much better of a top deck to end up facing? Yeah, you get to play Book of Eclipse, you get to play a lot of different things, but I think this might have put either Sprite or Kashtira on top, and with Elf gone, there's going to be a lot of immediate testing and a lot of shakeups heading into some YCSs. Thanks for watching the ban list react and the video. I know most of you all want to watch the market watch later instead. I will be working on that after lunch. See y'all in a couple hours with the market watch and how this impacts things.